thing which is going on in the scientific practice. I want to understand this bottle. I will throw a stone and it will shake, it will emit some energy, and from this emission I will be able to, so pump, probe, pump, probe. This is the fundamental experimental process that mankind is using. I didn't believe it. I think this is the stupidest way to understand nature and its fundamentals. We have to understand its language and we have to speak in that language. So when I came to Japan and then I started performing well, then they gave me a lot of money to build an instrument of my dream, massive instrument I built. It's an ultra high vacuum chamber, quantum tunneling system is there, but you can vibrate a nano system at different frequencies and you can observe quantum picture. And then I found that there is a music, hidden music in it. This frequencies dance like somebody is playing piano, and they change their shape and the conformation. So music and dance become an integral part of nanosystems. Then I grew up at all higher scale. So then I came to understand that it is in the structure of time. So one of the fundamental difference between India and the rest of the world is, in India, time is circular. We say Kala Chakra. For thousands and thousands of years, time is always circular, loop. And in the Western world or anywhere outside the Indian boundary you go, time is linear. It goes past, present, and future. We don't have it. We have circle, 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 circle. You'll find that we put a lot of clocks together and arrange together. So it means my brain model in 2016 became a lot of clocks arranged together. So I can bring it here. It's just here. So this is the meninges, and these are different three different big balls are there. So 3 different clocks, and they have 4 colored balls, and you have basically 12 different triplet of triplet clock architecture. So whole brain software is like this. So maybe you don't need the whole hardware system. So I would like to show you also how the brain looks like, because you should see it. So this is the brain. So you can see it. There is a connectome, spinal cord, and your hand, leg, entire neural network is there. And this is the brain jelly that we created. I can touch it and you can feel it. And you can see in my lab, 2 brains are communicating, artificial brains, and then those signals are there. You can see it from far. So to put the story again, to briefly, how the space looks like, this circuit doesn't matter. When they vibrate, and in the time domain, the architecture that is they are making, you have to find the brain, nature, and its intelligence over there. That's all I have to say.
Right. So many interesting things I would like to take from this. So maybe I would start with being crazy. I think what has happened in the field of science or any field is that we become very safe. We do not take these brave bets, and we don't go out against the system, because I think, when you push beyond what the general consensus of things is when you actually truly find the answers. So kudos to you for going against the pack, and while the world is zigging, you're zagging, so kudos on that. So many things that I would want to, unpack. A, the vibration. B, everything is spiral. But before I get into that, that hidden music and dance that you getting into when you kind of deep dive into the neurons and understanding all the spirals in it, I would want to open up, the others in the world, the peers who are looking at the brain. There's obviously AI, the field. It started with us, trying to emulate the human brain. We started building neural networks. Then there is, over the point of time, we've got neuromorphic computing, where we're trying to build brains, which has got, build computers which functions like a human brain. Then there is Henry Markham with the Blue Brain project. He's trying to create a complete simulation of the entire human brain. And then there are these biologists who's kind of tinkering around and building organoids, where they're taking these stem cells and culturing it. And through the stem cells, they kind of culture it into a mini brain of sort. But you have taken a complete different approach. So you gave a lot of information. Maybe elaborate a little bit further on that. You showed your prototype, current prototype, what you're building. Maybe talk a little bit about that. What was the building process, the challenges, and once you build it, what can it do at this point in time?
Yeah, so basically the difference, you mentioned Henry Markham. In 2012, I organized a conference. I invited those guys who were telling that they will build a brain within 10 years. So there was a huge movement in 2012, 2013, when Europe wanted to build brain, China wanted to build brain, Japan wanted to build brain, and all of them spent more than billions, $2 to $3 billion, not million, $1 billion at that point of time. To build an artificial brain over 10 years. If you look at all of their proposals have one thing in common. Neuron is a switch or a transistor, brain is a circuit, and if you have a super computer, it's just a matter of money. Then you can upload consciousness in the computer and you can do everything. But that time I was in MIT, I went, and Noam Chomsky stood up and asked 4 questions that you are going to waste the entire humanity's money, because for the first time humanity came together and spent on a single project. I repeat, on a single project, they spent more money than the defense budget. So defense budget has many small projects for making particular type of product. But for individually, just one project, America had Obama initiative, and all the projects will be finished in 2024. And we all know they build nothing. So I invited all of them and then asked them that, how are you going to build? So from Tommaso Poggio from MIT came here, and then Blue Brain Project, all the big shots came. And then Hugo de Garis, I know personally, who was responsible for Chinese Brain Project, and also Ferdinand Pieper, I worked with him, who started in Kyoto, Japanese brain building projects. All of them, neuron, circuit, device, and something. But our case, who is responsible for consciousness? We don't identify any device. We say, for an example, you and me have a conversation now. Our conscious experience is say 50 milliseconds or 100 milliseconds. But for that, your neuron is firing 1 millisecond. But for that, inside that, microtubule is firing for microseconds. Tick, 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 tick. For that, the neurons, the alpha helices, the cavities inside the protein are vibrating. Tick, 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 tick in nanoseconds. For that, the alpha helices that are there, every picosecond, tick, 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 tick. And for that, inside that, femtosecond. So you go 3 orders below. There is a clock inside the 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 clock. So when I showed you the brain, one magical thing that you saw, that I didn't show you the neuron. Neuron, we have single molecule, we grow them, neuron-like structures. I can show you that. So from the molecular scale, we grow up to millimeter scale. We can make the nanofiber, and we create the entire neural network, and we create the entire brain body system. So 47 different kind of organic gels. We have synthesized. They are all vibrate like a musician, helical symmetry and different kind of symmetries. They go from the nanoscale, single molecule scale to that. And then they grow up. But they vibrate at all the scale like the clock architecture. Many clocks put together, and they are there. So they vibrate just like that. So the difference between them and me is, I don't say that consciousness is here. Like if you go to Christoph Koch, who is running Google's artificial brain building project, of course, all of them are failing. So now no problem. 2024, there will be an official announcement that every single atom failed. Because of the 4 questions they never try to answer. What is information in the brain? So we say that it is the structure of clocks, the symmetry of the clocks. So triplet or triplet, I say 3 big clocks, and then each clock have 3 more clocks, like second clock, minute clock, hour clock. In this way, from from top to the bottom, this kind of clock, we say polyatomic time crystal, or time crystal always means that a lot of clocks are together in the phase singularity point. If you have a big sphere, you have some dark region and you can put another clock. So that is your information or invariants that are forming. What is your elementary device? Spiral symmetry. Wherever you see, that is your information processor. So you never say that it is here, 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 here. Wherever is there, like a neuron, glial cells are all around it. For one neuron, you have 100 glial cells making a spiral around it. So they are also doing it. Inside the neuron, microtubules are following this vortices like this kind of arrangement. Inside the microtubule, their proteins are making helices. So nowhere it stops. The helicity, and then helicity has the advantage of creating triplet or triplet clocks. That means 3 big clocks. That means millisecond, microsecond, nanosecond, and then in millisecond also you find some 3 different clock regions. So, so this is how the information integrates. Then the question is, what is the how the information integrate? Then we say that it is prime numbers. For an example, 47 different regions are here. Brodmann's region. 47 is a prime number. If I say how many spinal cord nerve branches, 31. You have all studied in the book. 31 is a prime, 1 is a prime number. 43 branches are there from the hippocampus spreading all over the brain. 43 is a prime number. The microtubule has 13 protofilaments, prime number. You have 200,000 cortical columns on your brain to give you the thought process. Each cortical column has 7 layers. That is a prime number. So if you take only 15 prime numbers, say 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 15, and up to 47, then you can see that just combining their vibrations, you can possibly generate 86% of all possible vibrations in the universe. So this is how information integrates. Fourth question, how it becomes self-aware. So that question was most difficult part and biggest challenge that I have to understand, because now we created a temple-like architecture. I hope if you check out my book. So if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in this way. And then 12, how many ways you can arrange? 2 into 2 into 3, 3 into 2 into 2, 2 into 3 into 2. In this way, how many ways you can arrange? You rotate them, you get a temple-like structure. So that is how the information integrates, the core. So this is cover page of my book. And sometimes I call this as Purusha and call this polyatomic time crystals as Prakriti. So this is integration. But the final thing is that with 15 primes, I can create like C2 symmetry. If you cut by half, this part, C2 symmetry. And C3 symmetry is 3 different parts. So how many objects in the universe have follow C2 symmetry? Look, there are 23 Bravis lattice, 23 type of symmetries, and you can explain all possible materials in the universe. So if you look at the varieties, facts, information, don't go there. You will die. You will not be able to fathom. But if you go to the symmetry, you can convert all possible varieties into a few simple things. Similarly, C2 symmetry, if you divide by half, this part nearly similar. Then C3, how many objects? 16 billion years before, 50% of the objects were following C2 symmetry. And 16 billion years later, when humanity will not be there, even then 50% of the structures will be following C2 symmetry. Then C3 symmetry, 16%. C5 symmetry, 8%. If you go on adding, you will reach 86%. So it means me, whoever I am, if I am made of this kind of prime-based mathematical structures, that is my vibrators are following like that, I will be able to understand your concept of whatever you create or anybody create if you are also made of like that. So there is somewhere a mathematical core architecture that has been created, that has created the whole universe, and I can understand 86% of it with my vibration synchronizing with it. So that is the answer to the fourth question. So these 4 questions were not answered in the other brain builders research, which I try to address. I'm not saying I'm absolutely correct. Many part of it will be proved wrong and then readjusted, but something will never change. That is the way people looked at absoluteness. That, okay, if Christoph Koch, colostrum is responsible, a particular component in the brain is responsible for consciousness. If you go to Stuart Hameroff or Roger Penrose, microtubule is responsible for consciousness. If many people, synaptic junction is responsible for consciousness. Some other people have some other portion, say hippocampus is responsible for. Some people, brain stem is responsible for consciousness. So everybody is going to some component and trying to find consciousness over there. But where we are saying, never look at space, look at the time, architecture of time. And we Indians are mastered in it for thousands and thousands of years. We always architecture of time, rhythm, Chandogya Upanishad, Chanda Shastra. We have created so many books on rhythms. So many. Even in 15th century, you will find scholarly books were written for rhythms. When the whole world was in the darkness, era of darkness, we were writing the books on mathematics of rhythms. No other race in the world you will find have spent thousands and thousands of years relentlessly investigating and understanding.
Right. Yeah. So I think it's surprising that, the Indian Upanishads had so much of deep knowledge over there, but sometimes, it feels like that we have lost it. Even the music, I think jazz is one form of music which kind of, plays around with a lot of different time signatures, but I think there's no music format then Carnatic, Hindustan Carnatic music, which kind of plays with different time signatures in such an insane mathematical way. Now you have designed these organic brain jellies that you claim that can learn, that can program, and then solve problem. So can you elaborate on this unique material? How does it work, and what are the implications of it in the futuristic future, like with robots and AI?
Just to get into the mathematics, when I first measured the frequencies, I put it on this paper. This is a historic paper I have kept. So you can see lots of vibrations are there. And this is a very long paper. So I never understood. For years, I used to keep it on the passage. And I used to look at it every day. I used to come to lab and then try to understand in 2011, 2012, 2013. And what I found, there are 108 different frequencies. Triplet of triplet is 9 and 12 bands that I always say. 12 time domain. That's why I have created a new instrument. You saw when I showed you in the video, a guy, a artificial brain was reading, wearing a machine. We call it duodecanogram, DDG. That means 12 different time bands are there. So 12 into 9, 108. So when I was giving this lecture in 2012, 2013 in the United States, a Jain person came and then gave me a book that, have you read this book? That is 108. And name of the book is 108. And I have not, but I see 108 peaks over there. And then that changed my life forever. Because until then, I did not have that much respect for, I don't want to get into this debatable thing, but since my father was an atheist, and then I'm also, still now I believe in Sankhya and Sankhya Darsana. I challenge God, just like Maharshi Kapil. He said whole universe is a mathematical structures and something like that, and Sankhya something like that. So that's Vedas is a book for atheists, like who is going to challenge the existence of God. so Vedas starts from there, right? That before the creation of everything, who was there? And God, where are you? They say that you know everything. If before the creation you were not there, then do you know everything? So I'm from that path. So when I hear 108, I called my mother and I asked, do you know 108? And I said, yes, in Rudraksha, there are 108. Krishna has 108 name, Shiva has 108 name. The Nataraja dance form has 108 8 different kind of formats. And then I'm a tabla player. I learned tabla, and I learned about tala, which is 17 or 21, 23. But I met with a South Indian musician, Carnatic musician, and he told me, no, Anirban, you are limited. There is 108 bit tala. in South India, we have. So 108 Tala, 108 Raga. Raga, you see, they say 14 lokas of Shiva. So Shiva 7 into 7. Aroha, sa re ga ma pa da ni sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. So sa. So those two sa common. If you leave, you will get 12 notes, and you twist them a little bit on a circle, and you get a different kind of fractal pattern that you expand to get the music. So our food, our dress, our music, our every single thing in our culture was fundamentally studying this vibrations that we see now in the proteins. So when I made the artificial, I now get back to your question. When I made the artificial brain, my objective was nothing. I put a 12-band machine, dodecahedron machine, on the human. I will look at the 12th time domain. As I said, that one time domain EEG was discovered invented in 1875. 150 years, humans all over the world. If you have a mental disorder or any kind of problem, people put EEG device on your brain and you measure 1 to 40 hertz. But I measure 1 to 10 to the power 12 hertz, because no frequency is important, no time is important. Different pieces of time, they are creating a pattern that is important. So I wanted to have absolute brain, absolute replica brain, which vibrates exactly same as this. To put, so there are two brains I showed. So one should be the brain, and the other one should be the artificial brain. So if two are there, then what we would do is, with respect to the artificial brain, we will compare the human. How is it different? Can we find out how you are communicating with the universe? So I never wanted to do business. Business was never my objective. I'm not a businessman. I could have spent money in share market. I saw in India, this time I went, many professors from different IITs and top research institutes. They have a mobile phone app and putting money into share market. Tack, whole day, 15 seconds. I never did that. Here also I see people, scientists are doing it. I never did it. I don't. Possibly I will never do in my life. But so what I am going to gain by making artificial brain, I don't see it in terms of it is my life. And what I want to see is I will go towards the brain's vibrational time architecture as close as possible until I die. So if I have the artificial brain that has the architecture of time, and human brain has an architecture of time, what is that is making different and separate and special? I feel if humanity can make very close vibrational structure, polyatomic type structure, clock architecture of artificial brain, then they can find out how exactly we are communicating with the universe. For an example, if you go to India to US, you will have a jet lag, 12 hours gap, and then we'll be there. You'll be sleeping in the day, waking. That means what happened? The sun clock and the moon clock, and then the water level clocks for them is connected to your body. That's why you need to readjust your clocks with the suprachiasmatic nuclei that you have. You need to adjust that. Because the biology, circadian rhythms and all kinds of rhythms. There are many different kinds of rhythms. That's not the only one rhythm. Many plenty. You might be communicating with the Jupiter's clocks also. So when you have these kind of situations, how do I isolate them? Who knows? You may be communicating with the galaxies. Others, I will not look at the signal, just like they have made a massive gravity wave detector, but I will find a new different kind of clock that is being born inside you. So that is a very low cost way to understand the universe without going anywhere, just looking into your brain. So I will use your brain as a sensor to find out the clocks that are missing, that are universe is communicating with you. Because I feel, just like the Vedas, the whole universe is the Virata Purusha, and it's a big life form, conscious life form, and then there is a conscious life form inside, and then you take one and conscious life from inside and inside and inside. So definitely, I can use the brain as a sensor to read the hidden signatures of the solar system, of our galaxy, and maybe external galaxies, because they will change the clocks inside it.
Right, right. So many deep things you have mentioned. I don't even know whether we can get into and open up all of those, right from, finding 108 everywhere to, maybe the Shankya, that the whole world is mathematical. There's a book written by Max Tegmark that the universe is mathematical. Then there is Seth Lloyd, who claims that the universe is a quantum computer. So maybe if briefly you could kind of, give your thoughts on is the entire universe mathematical? And if that is so, are we living in a simulation? Maybe that's one question. And then you were having a talk with Dr. Deepak Chopra, and you were talking about setting up a global platform for creating a super intelligent molecular machine called Brahma. When you're talking about that Brahma, is it in the lines of Eric Drexler's vision of a molecular assembler? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, so we already have created Eric Drexler's version of brain that is actually called a nanobrain. So I built it in 2008, a small molecule and 16 molecules all around, because I felt that Eric Drexler's 1989 proposal is incomplete. He wrote the whole book, and after that molecular machines were invented and people came into what they never made. Is I have written in the PNA's paper in 2008 that why not you are talking about brain at the nano scale? Somebody has to make the intelligence. So I hired Dr. Subrata Ghosh, who is now a senior scientist in CSIR NEIST, and together we built a dendritic molecular system, just almost like the Drexler's vision. And we have nanobots all around, and then we have sensors inside the decision making. All together 10 nanometer. And in this molecular version was when I was giving interview to the BBC, Jonathan Fields, I think. And then he actually said, so Anirban, can I say this first nanobrain in the world? So that's how the nanobrain word was coined. And Brahma is a concept, is that I'm still working with my PhD student, Sudeshna Pramanik, who is working, trying to understand. For an example, if you think about string theory, so they say string is the fundamental of the universe. We say that spiral is the fundamental of the universe, geometric phase and others. Now, in string theory, you have 4-dimension tensor, 4x4, and then 8x8, and then they do it together. In our temples for thousands of years, we have Chautisha and Astisha. Chautisha is 4x4 tensor. You will find it is written on the South Indian temples because, South India is the storage of remnant of the Indian civilization that we had. In North India, almost everything got destroyed and disappeared. So you will still find that a Chautisha, and 1800, it went to the West, and then they even satellite telecommunication to your mobile phone communication to weather forecasting, everywhere this 8x8 and 4x4 tensors are used, which is called quaternion octonion. If you want to understand the universe, then you have to know 4x4, 5x5, 6x6, 7x7, 8x8, 53 cross 53, up to 108 cross 108. So this massive multi-dimensional tensors, why they are beautiful, why it attracted Einstein in 1913, and he learned from Michael Grossman and proposed the theory of relativity, because you can 4 imaginary world by 4 imaginary world. Third imaginary world can interact with fourth imaginary world and give the result in the first imaginary world. Imagine you and me sitting maybe different universes, me and you interact, and then other universe, somebody else was sitting, some idea comes to his mind. This is the beautiful world that is inside us. It is in the textbook, but we don't read it like that. But it came in the 1920s. So what I'm doing now is increase it up to 108, so that with the tensors we can rewrite the kind of universe that we want to see. So the Drexler's molecular universe we have already created in IIT Guwahati. Professor Ajay Kumar Kundumakkara and from Kerala, and her student Parama, they are now testing the genetic modifications that we can have if we put that nanobrain. So we are looking for a futuristic society where we will give that nanobot and we will do the molecular surgery at a particular places where we can intelligently program it and it will replace the method of surgery. Also in IIT Kharagpur, Jimli Sarkar and Ayan is working. Ayan Chatterjee is working on the intelligence of this kind of nanosystems. So that is actually different part of the work from the nano brain. Then I will move to real brain actually. So
Dr. Amazing works that you've been doing. Now India has been really driving the conversation when it comes to quantum computing, because globally I think there is Google and IBM who are leading the race when it comes to quantum computing, and there are nations also who are pushing forward the conversation of quantum computing, and so is India. India has got this India Quantum Mission, and you are now responsible or heading the Quantum Computing Center at Mandi. Can you first maybe kind of explain what a quantum computer is? How does it work? And maybe elaborate on your partnership in setting up this Indian Quantum Computing Center at Mandi.
Yeah, so this is IIT Mandi, and Professor Lakshmidhar Behera, the director of IIT Mandi, he came here, visited us, and then he wanted to see what kind of computer is this, because I am making computers, brain-like computing or decision making since 2005. And even my PhD was on supramolecular electronics, that if you have a supramolecular system, many decisions are together, then how do you make a decision like brain-like system? What is, since it is said that even the senior most professors of the world, they don't understand quantum mechanics. And one Nobel laureate famously said there are only 2, 1, maybe nobody understands quantum mechanics, something like that. Or maybe I can say maximum 4. So what I would like to say is that first, what is quantum mechanics? Okay, so quantum mechanics is about a shared universe, shared world. For an example, I have two bottles here. In the classical world, they can exist. They have their separate identity. But suppose I can have 1 liter here and 1 liter water here. So if I measure in the classical world, it will be 1 liter plus 1 liter, 2 liters. But in the quantum world, if they are entangled, I will measure 1.2 liter here and 1.2 liter here, because the existence is shared. So totally I will get 2.4. So 2.4 is greater than 2. So this is inequality. So this is called Bell's inequality. So existence is shared. So like if I give an electron to a molecule has 20 atoms. So different atoms will take different part of the electrons. So existence of that electron is different part. So that means you are going through a road and then your hand is somewhere, leg is somewhere, everything is somewhere distributed. So something like this, but there is no road in quantum. So if you have a sharp nail-like path where you can exist, and there is another one. Now, in between this, you can jump. Jump is a classical concept. You can't jump in the quantum world. So you disappear here and you reappear over there. So that is the beauty. So you can exist at multiple different places, but your replica cannot exist. So there are entanglement. Entanglement, again, people misunderstand. Misunderstand means they think 2 things are entanglements, everything is entangled. No. Only one property is entangled. All the properties you cannot. Only phase is entangled, only one property. If you make multiple properties, all the properties entangled, then there is a prohibition in quantum that you cannot make an absolute replica of one object to another. If you do that, then you violate the fundamental principle of existence of the universe. So this is all weird things about quantum. But if you remember only one phrase, then you will never be fooled. That is, existence is shared. And energy is not required. You can vibrate here, vibrate, and you can appear somewhere else. Remember this, because quantum tunneling is about less than the. Why am I saying quantum tunneling? Because Indian professors will start shouting that without energy violation principles, very, very difficult. Because I'm talking to Indian professors now. Now I have a very difficult time, because one professor told me that quantum interference and classical interference are same. Anirban, we have really. Anyway, other professors, I mean, I am listening so many funny things. Okay, so if two objects, electron comes from here to here, so energy could be less than the barrier. It can vibrate, it can vibrate, and then it will disappear here and come here. So that is called quantum tunneling. So these are the very basic concept of quantum. Now, when computing comes, then as usual, whatever the classical phenomenon is there, so scientists find a quantum version. What do? They share the property between multiple elements and then think that a quantum has been achieved. So if I can share somehow, then I will do. So this is how in the last 100 years, we created every single analog of classical phenomenon into the quantum world. So if there is a classical computer, then why not we have a quantum computer? So that's how the concept of quantum computer came. So in the source algorithm came in 1996, and then other kind of ideas came that, look, if I can share the existence of particular choices into many things, and I can collapse them, and I can make a I can compute instantly. So these are in the popular media you will hear. What they don't tell you that how do I split my whole body? How do you know I am the solution, and you put it at a different place? So this question, Scott Aronson, I think, from MIT,
Scott
and
Aronson.
Joska and Rape, and then others, 2007, 8, 9, 10, there was a movement. They looked in deeply into the algorithms, and then they found that, look, it is not that easy. If you go from classical to quantum computer, you will not always get advantage, because if there is a calculations, you need to break the entanglement and then re-entangle. So most of the problems you need to break entanglement, you get some derivative, and then you take some other derivative and calculate. And then like our arithmetic in the school days when we were little kids, we do little calculation, we get some output, we add with something, and then step, 4, 5 steps. Then what will you do? Because every step is different. Factorization you can do very fast, because it's not a it's the same process you are repeating. So I started building quantum computer only because I found a language of nature, and that language was beautiful. That time crystal, as I said, different clocks are together, and then clocks are coming together and glued. Because where there is a phase singularity. Singularity means everybody knows singularity, because everybody knows black hole in India. Whenever I go and talk, say singularity, oh, you are talking about black hole? Even the kids know this. So if there is a singularity and another clock, and the clock gets in, and then you can create a clock architecture. That's like a glue. You can consider those as phase sphere, almost like a block sphere, and integrate those block sphere possibilities into a chain. So I was already doing it. So when I was building this neuromorphic computer here, so some professors came and visited my lab, say, Anirban, you are writing the information using microwave wirelessly in the organic or brain jelly, in the helical nanowires. And those helical nanowires are actually getting the information from outside, and you are reading it with photons. So if there is single photon, and you have a photon counter detector, you can do quantum computing. because these all systems could be quantum mechanically entangled. Why don't you go for that? So that's the reason I went into this, and then I built one. It's a DOF type quantum computer, not logic gate type, because logic gate type making is very, very difficult. And I also don't believe logic gate type quantum computer would ever be realized. There is a reason, because nobody knows. In India never built a classical computer. And now India is dreaming to build a quantum computer. So classical computer, those people who work on qubit, I can tell 100% assurance I can give, by 2031, no group from India will be able to make quantum computer. Just like I said 2014, that by 2024, no group will be able to make artificial brain, even a neural network that can make a decision they can't make, because they are not addressing the question. Making a computer and making a logic gate is a two different thing. Making an adder subtractor is a different thing. It is not a computer. It is not even a calculator. So why it is difficult? Why it is not possible? Why it is critically challenging? Because in this computer that I am using, this computer has 1 billion lines of codes. Developed over years after years, thousands and thousands of engineers have worked on the modules. And there is a 2.4 gigahertz processor, there is a clock. So hundreds of picoseconds, there are pulses that are generated. Those pulses integrate clock, up to the second scale, when an hour's scale, that's how I can do the operations on this computer. In quantum, and today we are doing this interview, few days back, just 2 or 3 days back, a research report came from one of the top universities in the US that quantum clock is very difficult to build. Because many people think quantum clock will be just like classical clock. Oh no, let's put some H cut. If you put some H cut, put a big Hamiltonian equation, and you think that I am able to do quantum. But the problem is that qubit can be entangled. You can take another qubit there and then collapse other side of the universe. So I had a long conversation with an engineer yesterday who is associated with this quantum computer building in UK. And then we were discussing, and then we were telling that clock, you cannot do that. So how can you make a quantum clock and integrating the time and keeping the time up to the classical scale, right? You have to do that. Like classical world, classical computer, 0 and 1, 0 volt, 5 volt. After a few distance in the circuit, in the wiring, what happens is 5 volt becomes 3 volt and 0 volt becomes 2.8 volt. So you do the error correction and put them back. In quantum, same thing happens. Because the waveform that is there, they decohere and then they develop errors, and you need to correct it. So one centimeter square of a Pentium 4 processor has 10 kilometer wiring, and you have to have major resources go there to do these corrections. Now in quantum computer, when you increase in a massive scale, you have exponential increase in the number of quantum error correction needed. So first challenge is clock, an incredible engineering and discovery innovations needed, but nobody talks about quantum clock because nobody has ever built a classical computer. They have not seen how the classical computer is built. So nobody is talking about. If you see quantum mission document for government of India, clock is not there, as if it is not required at all. But they are talking about logic gate-based computer. So what we have done is a very different kind of thing. We might not have much time to discuss about it. I don't know if I have time. I can certainly discuss about it. There is nothing secret in me. But in IIT Mandi, we are creating one of my students, Dr. Puspendra Singh, who built the quantum computer here. He is going to join there as one of the faculties. And then we are setting up. I am very, very determined. I did nothing for the country. I stayed when I was very young. I came here. In my PhD, I went to UK in Sheffield, and then I came into Japan and I settled here. This is my time to return to my motherland. And we will be building a quantum computer, the computer that I have built here, much more advanced version than that. And to dream of government of India that they wanted, that we will realize. First is creating all technologies, the background technology, like jet engine. Why India couldn't build a jet engine? Because the associated little components, that technology didn't exist. So you can't integrate it over there. So I have decided, already made the plan, detailed plan, already purchase has been made. Professor Behra, the director of IIT Mandi, is kind enough to provide the budget, and then the center has been created, and faculties are being recruited. I'm not involved in the faculty recruitment process because I want to avoid from that, but I'm directly involved in creating students whose mindset is engineering, and every single component that requires millions of dollars, we are recreating it in IIT Mandi. For an example, single photon detector. So Germany is now the best in the world. PicoQuant company makes one of the finest picosecond resolution to understand quantum entanglement. We are making it in IIT Mandi. Single photon avalanche detector to understand the single photon as arrived or entangled photon as arrived. We are doing it optical based because we want to do it in room temperature. Cryogenic we are avoiding because cryogenic you can understand $30 billion. Microsoft budget is $30 billion, and they want to they already spend $9 to $10 billion, achieved nothing. So what will happen to the $1 billion of government of India total budget if they give it to the qubit makers? You can understand. But we want minimum amount of money from the government of India. We will apply. If government gives money, okay. If doesn't give, still we make it. So the cost and other things we have calculated in such a way that we will not be waiting, but we definitely want that all top professors who are making qubit in India should be given money from that $1 billion. The reason is that the nation should see that how an innovation is made, because Indian scientists, top professors have always complain that they are not given money. That's why they can't do the great thing. But they forget. I mean, I posted in Facebook 10 different discoveries which were less than $10. Andrew Gain, he took a sellotape and took the HOPG out. And then he created the graphene. Research come from attitude. Research never come from. At 1880, where were the resources for Jagadish Chandra Bose? When he created crystallograph 10 to the power minus 9 to 10 to the minus 11, 10 to the minus 11 meter vibration, he measured at that time sitting in Calcutta. I want to see how many Indian scientists have created that level of resolution even now. Right. We purchase that kind of sensors from outside. But if you want, you can build it. Definitely you can build it. I have seen it. Many professors doing it in their lab. We are sitting abroad, and Indian professors always complain that you have lots of budget, and that's why you do it. If money is given, money has nothing to do it. So that's why it's a big challenge for me. You said, when is the good time to do? You sometimes you raise that issue. Actually, to do great research, the best time is now.
You rightfully pointed out that money is obviously needed, but it's not the first thing. I think first thing comes with that complete desire and passion and relentlessness of going out and building it out of true passion, of the reason of doing something which will serve society and change the world. And I think we're sitting at a cusp of point in time where all these tech stacks are converging and things are getting democratized. And yes, quantum computing is so core. I mean, if India really puts its money where its mouth is and supports the entire ecosystem, we'll truly have a computing device which could completely change the world. When you are describing quantum computing, when you're explaining quantum mechanics, you are giving you're talking about superposition entanglement, and you spoke about shared existence. So, do you believe Hugh Everett's interpretation of a many world theory? Is that what you believe in? That's my first question. And the second question is, when we have what's the timeline that you're giving of building a working quantum computer in India? And once we have that, what would be the applications of the?
Okay. Two things that we are doing. So I must tell that this whole mission is not led by me. The mission is led by Professor Chandrasekhar Yadav, and he is a faculty and he is chairing the Center for Quantum Science and Technologies. We have Professor R.P. Singh from Physical Research Laboratory. I have talked to Dr. Balaji Srinivasan from IIT Madras to create an analysis. So we are contacting many professors from all over India, and it will be a truly national mission when we are building it in India. So it will not be effort of mine only. It will be effort of many professors who are there. We are talking directly. So we have been working for 1 year finding out those talents, because there are talents. It is not that there is not. Only thing is that those are never given honor. 1986 1984 STM was built, but 1989 some people in India, and their handiwork, they built the STM, but nobody knows about them. I mean, nobody knows. I know because of personal reason. I came to know, and they told me, so that's why I know. So there are people who take little things. We say jugaad technology, and then with the jugaad people do, but the point is, jugaad should be the mainstream. Jugaad should not be the outlaws. So regarding the application, we have made very clear we are not going to go for logic gate based computing. Why? We will try. We will have a laboratory. We will have logic gate, quantum logic gate, like the other groups are showing. We will also show quantum logic gate, adder, substructure with optical structures in room temperature. We will show entanglement and other things, but we will not go. Why? Because these clock principles, when you do the hierarchical integration, where you give an input and you get an output, what I want is already in my lab. If you come here, you can use it, and videos are there in www.nanobrain.org. In this website, we are uploading the operations and how we are doing it, and everything is public. What I'm saying is that it will be almost like D-wave quantum annealing. So when I talk to Indian professors, they are already very much accustomed with the Brahman and Sudra concept. So if you are doing logic gate, quantum logic gate, then you are Brahmin. That is the true quantum. And if you do quantum annealing based or annealers or other things, that is not outside India. We are so much, casteism is so much embedded. We always make this one is a higher class, this one is a middle class, this one is a lower class. So when I hear this from respected professors, I feel very bad. I mean, very bad. Because this is how, if you want to run India, that's why, I mean, in next 100 years, you will never get a Nobel Prize from India, because the problem is the mindset is not understanding the principle and breaking the principle. For an example, just a few days back, I had a huge debate with a professor regarding quantum. I mean, we are making quantum annealing based quantum computer, and we are solving only one problem, that is classification problem. Classification problem means you have, like YouTube, people are uploading dirty and illegal, bad videos, but Google cannot search and classify them into different parts. So classification is one of the fundamental problems that is dangerously hurting the human civilization. For an example, cloud. What kind of cloud is there so that you can predict the cloud burst? It's a big problem for ISRO. So we want to solve that one. So I talked to some of the ISRO scientists, and then we negotiated and we tried to solve. So classification is a problem where you can classify good from the bad, worse from the others. So that is the only problem we are targeting. in making the quantum computer. So classification problem, class of problem, quantum annealing, and logic gate we will show, because otherwise we don't become Brahmin. We will be untouchables. So so I know that those who are making quantum gateways, it's an open challenge to them. That whole world is not able to do it. You will also not be able to. Not even a single gate. I mean, it will be recorded. You will see it, but they will always disown. Oh, that is kind of a bad thing. So those bad things, we are going to be the bad guys in India. So quantum annealing based or adiabatic computing, adiabatic quantum computing it is called. So what happens is we can grow one molecule into large supramolecule, and that will be the quantum circuit. So we take the input information. For an example, I'm looking at you. What I see in your conversation a particular pattern which is repeating like a clock. And those pattern I take. So we have created a very, very complex software, massively complex. So I told you, classical computer needs 1 billion lines of codes. In a quantum computer, you need that level of complexity. So we have already built it in Japan. And Professor Behera came here, had talked to our president, and then invited him to be part of it. And then in a proper technology transfer, proper way, everything is going. And then we are, the way we are planning in India, it is many times more than what we built here, because I don't want to create just a replica, so that I don't want to waste my time, right? So I will definitely try to do, and I also don't feel that where Japan invested money for years and then built something, India will replicate it just like the filthy China. As an Indian, I will feel very bad, very bad. We do not replicate. We create and so much innovation. So I am teaching the principles to the students so that they can come up with a creative idea and make 100 times better than what I have built in the last 18, 19 years. So that will be my success. So definitely I can assure you that under any circumstances, it will never, ever be replica, or even 1% will not be taken from the Japanese resources. Even though we are saying we are collaboratively, we will share some percentage to the Japanese institute and something, still we will not take anything. So room temperature, optical quantum computer is a topological system, and there will be 16 channels and topological hierarchical quantum computing, where we will show around equivalent to we are making GPU, graphical processing unit. People make CPU. We are not making quantum CPU, because quantum CPU means I need to make the hierarchical clock architecture to control the time evolution at all the processes, and that is where nobody in the world is talking, because nobody is serious about making, just like brain research 2014, nobody was serious about making the brain. So they never answered 4 questions: that what is information in the brain or the universe, what is the unit device in the brain or the universe, how information integrates, and what makes it self-aware. So when you are 86%, you can emulate of the whole, there in my part, then, and I am whole of those parts that are inside me, 86%, my 86%, they can analyze, then I am conscious. So like I give direct answer, it could be wrong, right, other thing. And I'm telling you with full responsibility that unless until hierarchical quantum clock architecture is built, where you can keep the time at every different layer, you can never, ever build a quantum computer. And quantum error correction also hierarchical network, because it will go away, because you can't make where. So another good thing about this computer that we are building in IIT Mandi is that there is no wearing. So we are using the beauty of shared existence. You said, with that I would like to end it, this interview, that you said that shared existence has a beauty, because if your existence somehow I can share it at many places, I don't need to communicate and ask every part what has happened to you. I can, I do not break the entanglement. I just manipulate the symmetry, and I can understand what is going on. So I have 16 channels. At the end, I will show you the quantum computer that is here, and people should see it. And it's not running right now, but this is it. If there is a problem, tell me. So this is the computer which is now off, I think. So we program it and we send 16 different replica of the same problem. And this is the organic jelly where the single supramolecule goes, or quantum circuit is synthesized for every single problem. And there is the photon source, single photon source. We check it here. This is a single photon source. It divides into 16 parts. There are optical fibers, which takes, and you will find that C2 symmetry, C7 symmetry, C13, C5. So different gel looks into different symmetries of the quantum collapse and try to investigate. And here is a picoquant machine. We are using 16 channel. So 16 different symmetries we look into. So we don't look into different number of qubits, because qubits are hierarchical topology for us. So around 5,500, 800 to 5,000. In between that, equivalent qubits would vary at the final, but we cannot compare because we are making quantum GPU. So that is one part of it. So basically, we take graphics with a graphical processor we want to build. So it's not a classical computer like quantum computer where you type and do. You with a camera, you have to show the video of any unknown data. Immediately, instantly, it will tell what is the model, what is the hidden model into it. So that is going to be the thing. And another thing I must say before I end, quantum computer, classical computer you build because you mastered the technology of quantum mechanics. Classical computer doesn't run with classical devices. There are classical wiring circuits. Principle is classical, but the devices are all quantum. So if you want to make quantum mechanics, a quantum computer, truly quantum computer that has not been designed. I mean, we think that we are trying to design and build the true quantum computer, then you need to go one level higher than quantum mechanics. That is, we proposed long back fractal mechanics, which Roger Penrose and many others are saying. Whether we will be successful making an absolutely ideal quantum computing or not, that is a future question. And the answer lies whether we will be able to master the fractal mechanics, which is one level beyond, because from where quantum mechanics could be derived, because quantum mechanics is observed, none of its theories are derived from some basic postulates or principles. Those are we have taken and fitting equation that we have put. Everybody knows this. Many scientists have contributed. I'm not going to contribute over that, but technologically, what I'm trying to see is just by manipulating the symmetries, can I have different part of the block sphere or the unknown mysterious territory, I can classify and find multiple worlds or multiverses that you say, and we can engineer over there to change the quantum world. So one level above to the quantum world, and then we do it. So two things: hierarchical clock architecture, hierarchical quantum error correction, and one level above the quantum mechanics, another mechanics and another engineering of symmetries or breaking symmetries needed to build a quantum computer.
Doctor, really appreciate you taking time and being part of the podcast. Truly honored to have you on the podcast, and you shared so much insights. I hope that you play a pivotal role in shaping India's quantum mission, and wish you and your team the very best. And to my listeners, if you like what you see in here, then please press the subscribe button. Until next time, see you guys. Bye-bye. Thank you, Doctor. Really appreciate this.
It's wonderful to have you, Dr. Anirban Bandyopadhyay, Senior Scientist in the National Institute of Material Sciences in Tsukuba, Japan. And you worked on so many different aspects, particularly the microtubules and the cells and their potential for being a place where consciousness plays a role. Our group is interested in consciousness, and the podcast we have is actually called Consciousness is All There Is. And so we want to explore with you your findings, your thoughts, and the beautiful work you have done. So welcome on this podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
let's explain just so that we have a good understanding, and those who are not familiar with neuroscience and neurobiology and biology, we'll start discussing what are the microtubules and where they are. So you've worked on them and you know them very well. So for the untrained person, how would you explain microtubules?
Yeah. So microtubule is a very thin string, just like a guitar string, and it is made of proteins. And just like DNA is a spiral or helical structure, like the galaxies are. And these like spring-like structures made of proteins are there in every single cell. So suppose we are made of, say, 10 to the power 14 number of living cells. Each cell, microtubule, is changing its length continuously. If a particular moment it stops, a person will die. It is called dynamic instability. So changing length helps us to transport food particles and many other transport, all kind of, it's kind of a super highway in the cells. But in the neurons, it's also packed. If you cut a neuron cell, which is considered as fundamental unit of consciousness, which is considered as unit where thought process is born, where our cognition, where our experience is generated. So for more than 100 years, we in the mainstream neuroscience, it was believed that it is everything. So the skin of a neuron is everything, just like imagine somebody is saying that our skin is everything. So inside the neuron, these kind of strings are there. But suppose something is helical and spring, so it has a direction. So one direction it allows the transport much, and then other direction it doesn't. So one of the most beautiful thing about this microtubule string is that inside this protein helical structure, protein molecules are like balls. They are just like forming a spring. Inside that, water molecules form a crystal in a beautiful, unique architecture. It's not like water, not like ice. It's a beautiful structure that forms throughout. And on top of it, you also have a helical arrangement of water molecules. It's a 3 layers of helix, just like collagen. So most abundant protein in our body is collagen. It's the 3 springs connected together. Springs are everywhere. Even if I go inside the protein, I find alpha helices, they are spring. So spring, nature has put a spring everywhere. So you can find microtubule in every single prokaryote cells. In the plants, in any animals, cells are filled with microtubules. So you can find it everywhere.
Wonderful. So these microtubules then normally have been thought to be transport structures. Maybe they transport nutrients or water or channel something. But you have found something more in them, which could be not actually like a classical change or exchange, like localized in time and space entities such as we call protein, and we call, small billiard balls moving around, whatever molecules or atoms. But there is something beyond the classical, which is more on the quantum mechanical level. And there is something about resonance and vibration. Would you like to tell us what is this that is in the microtubules?
Mm-hmm. So first, let's tell you some historical background and the perspective. How do I enter into microtubule? I joined National Institute for Material Science here in Japan, coming from India, in a program to build artificial brain. And I thought I was a strong believer of artificial intelligence. And I felt like many scientists, even now all over the world, believes that if you have enormous complexity, then you can realize consciousness. And it's not far away. And the day quantum computers will come, and then we will have trillions and zillions of decisions processed in fraction of a second, then consciousness is nothing. We can realize consciousness, and we can do everything that we want to do or we want to plan. So this was kind of a perspective where I was there. Then came fourth circuit element. 150 years ago, resistor, capacitor, inductor was discovered. But one particular device humanity was looking for 150 years, and that was fourth circuit element. What is that? That is, you store charge in a device, and that will generate magnetic flux. So this device, people were looking, were searching, and 2008 the discovery came that Hewlett-Packard company and Stanley Williams and their group said that, okay, I have a sandwich structure and we can realize this. And I was then I was just in my 30s. So I was very angry and upset, and I wrote to the editor-in-chief, Carl Gemelis, that look, this is absolute junk. Then he replied that we have received many letters like this and we will challenge. But still, Memristor is a movement, and people now believe strongly that if you want to realize consciousness, you need Memristor. But I challenged very much at that point of time. And I felt like I need an insulator, insulating molecules and spring shape, so that I can store the charge, and because of the leakage current, magnetic flux will be produced. So there is no person in the world who has talked about such a device. And if it is what was missing in the industrial revolution of the world in electronics, artificial intelligence, then it must be somewhere. Then I searched and found microtubule. And I said, I am the only intelligent person in the world that I discovered that we need microtubule-like devices or DNA-like devices or spiral structures made of insulator rings, and nobody else. Then I searched and found the name of Stuart Hameroff. And I went to Hong Kong to meet him. That who is this man? So this is how my journey became entered into microtubule, because I was searching for a suitable device for thought. Humanity was also searching. They came up with Memristor, we came up with inductor. So it's an analog of microtubule. So that is how I took the microtubule. I didn't know what is protein. I'm a hardcore physicist, and quantum measurement is my specialty. So quantum tunneling, manipulating single molecules. Within 2 nanometer was my journey. Microtubule was 25 nanometers and long. So we have in NIMS in Japan, the best thing is that you can go to NanoFoundry, you can order anything. So there are special engineers. So more than 400 engineers work here. So we can take their expert help, and immediately I started doing the measurement. So quantum measurement was nothing very special. But good luck for us that microtubule was 25 nanometers, not so big. Long, it's fine. Doesn't matter. But it's not much wider. So we started doing the measurement, that what are the conductivities, and then we found that it is insulator. So there were, in the initial days, there were lots of challenges. We wanted to understand if polarized photon falls into it, spiral pathway, how it changes. So the most beautiful thing that we found is that when a polarized light, a photon or light falls on the microtubule, it passes through a spiral pathway or any electromagnetic noise. If you pump on the microtubule, because of the spiral structure, it becomes quantized. So only those who allows in a favorable path that are. This is why even in a elementary particle physics, to proteins, to any molecules, to our whole body, go anywhere, even to the outer galaxies, you will find spirals. Why? Because spiral structure or helical structure is a process where you bombard with noise, any kind of jumping noise, it will select only those who can rotate through that path. So you can change the pitch, length, diameter, a simple geometry. But using that, nature has created this whole universe. So the beauty, I started discovering that I pump a photon, it starts rotating. So it creates vortex. So we published it. And then if we pump our electromagnetic noise, it becomes quantized. So, and what the most beautiful thing that we discovered was that because I'm from a musical family, so what I did is I try to look at the frequency resonance. I have it. So this is a historic document for me. So if I roll it out, it's a very, very long thing. Okay, very long. It will go. So I put all the resonance frequencies I found that where microtubule vibrates. Those frequencies I carefully measured using instruments. Manually build the instruments and try to measure which frequencies the guitar string vibrate. I found many frequencies, and I could not understand for years that who is making this frequency distribution, why. And I found one interesting thing that in the kilohertz domain, in the milliseconds domain, I found 3 peaks. And if I go inside, I found 3 peaks again. And so triplet of triplet, so 9 bands. And if I go 1 band and there are 12 frequencies. So I'm from a musical family. I know Indian raga. And Indian raga is Aroho. Sa re ga ma pa da ni sa, sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. So you will cycle. And 2 of them, 7 into 2, 14, minus 2, 12. So I find 12 here. So is it composing raga like music? And then one day, actually, I was to keep this in the passage, this paper. In the passage is long from one side of the corridor to the other side. So I used to look every day, and one day I found this. There is a pattern of primes. Prime number of peaks are coming together and vibrating. Then I understood that, okay, so it's a musical instrument. So from the very beginning, from the proteins to my whole body, it's a layer structure of musical instruments. Just like imagine a clock, and you have multiple points. And suppose I want to write a triangle. So triangle and a clock. Ding, 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 ding. So this kind of oscillation continues, and microtubule memorizes a triangle. So using geometric shapes, it is holding, and it's a beautiful world. So this is how my journey started in understanding the properties, the resonance, microwave vibrational properties, and then the water channel, water crystal. So it's absolutely crystalline structure. So many people argue that why should microtubule have quantum properties? Its room head is so warm, 37 degrees Celsius, and then quantum property needs cryogenic temperature. Come on. First of all, understand that every single molecule in the whole universe is a quantum mechanical device. Every single molecule in the whole, all bodies, entire molecule, room temperature, ambient atmosphere, there, quantum mechanical device. So to become a quantum mechanical device, you need cryogenic temperature, everything. Just like, imagine somebody is saying that our skin is everything.